Welcome to this week's episode of Hump Day News. Okay, so I'm going to start off this week shocking and strong. So this research has come out to say that a percentage of American adults that are not having sex has reached its highest, which I think is really ironic because we feel like we have this over-sexualized society these days, but then we get all this data saying that we're not having sex as much as we used to. Maybe it's thanks to Netflix and Instagram. But the interesting thing about this is that it was looking at the fact that we're an aging population. So maybe we need to count that into our statistics that as we get older, we potentially are not having as much sex, which I don't actually agree is the way that we should be doing it. But there was a proportion of Americans aged between 18 and 29 that were reporting having no sex in the past year that had doubled between 2008 to 2018. So what's going on? Maybe we need to get a little bit more busier in the bedroom and work out what are we doing with our time that we're not connecting with ourselves and others physically. Okay, so I love a dating trend, mainly because I think there's a lot of fun with these dating trends. Every time we get a word and we look at the definition, we then realize, hey, that's something we've been doing anyway, but now we just have this fancy fun word for it. So the next dating trend to talk about is rotational dating. So this is whereby you would go out on multiple dates with people before you actually commit to somebody. So that doesn't really sound like things that we haven't been doing before, but there is one particular dating expert that's saying for women, do this, don't have sex with anybody because then you'll get attached. So it's kind of like going out there, testing the market, having a few dates with different people, and then choosing the one that you want to get into a relationship with, which I kind of feel like is what we're doing anyway, but it's interesting to see it put in that perspective, telling women, don't get sex during this process or don't have sex during this process because then you won't get attached and then you choose the person to have that commitment with. Maybe it's a little bit of FOMO, just sample a few people and then work out what you want. I particularly like to go with the gut instinct, but sometimes people need to see a comparison to understand, well, I feel that way about one person, that works, and this other person is great on paper, but I'm lacking something in the heart and in terms of a spark. Okay, so now for some Married at First Sight news. No, it's not a scandal that I have insight into, but it is more on the academic front. So, a report published by the ABC on Monday said, with academics quoted, that the program may be a good way to set one's own moral boundaries, which kind of again is a no-brainer because I think we've seen so much scandal this season. We've seen so much drama go on. How can anybody watch that and think, hey, that's a great way to carry on and love life and relationships? I think a lot of us are kind of noticing that, is that the right thing to do? And we're having these conversations around morality, especially when it comes to dating in a relationship. Should she have done that? Should he have done that? Should they have had that conversation? So there was an interesting quote though from Dr. Patrick Stoke from Deakin University. So he said, everyone needs entertainment and there is something positive about sitting down and watching something really mindless. So I don't know if that's in support or dig at something like Married at First Sight, but I do think we all need to realize it is a TV show. Whilst it is an experiment and there are experts involved, the purpose of this show is to entertain us. And that is exactly what it has done this season. But it might not necessarily be such a bad thing for our personal lives. So I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Hump Day News. If you have any topics you want me to hear you want to hear me speak about, or you would like to ask me a Dr. Nikki question, jump onto my Facebook page, ask me anything you want. Okay, bye.